You're listening to the Scarf Bagara War, part of the Talksport Fan Network, and charity partners with Mentel, for county fans, by county fans.
Wow. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 13 of the Courtyard Club Call. We are recording this on Sunday evening following, a rather chastening 4-1 defeat to Leyton Orient. I had one word after that game. It's deflating. But I've got another word now, and that's perspective. It was tough to take, but I've got some other numbers for you. 6 years ago, we were drawing 1-1 away at Telford. 8 months since we conceded 4 in the league. That was away at Tranmere. And it's been 18 games since we failed to score a goal in the league. That was Swindon at home on the 24th of February. So let's all calm down. It wasn't great, but I'm joined by Dan Culverwell. Hi, Dan.
Evening.
And I'm joined by Stuart Hope as well. Hi, Stuart.
Evening. How are we doing?
Yeah, and we're going to run through the game. So let's listen first to a short clip from Dave's post-match.
With what Leyton Orient threw at us. Now, I think as a basic in football, you have to be able to do that. You've got no divine right to be able to play in a certain way. You've got to compete. You've got to win your first contact. You've got to win second balls. You've got to get close to people. We didn't do any of that in the first, from minute 5 to minute 20. And conceded as a result 2 really, really poor goals, which puts you on the back foot. That's it. Whether you're playing in, take the top 2 divisions, when you're playing in League One or down to National League South, you got to compete. You got to win your first contact. You got to get close to people. You're essentially pretty much all over the pitch, man for man. You might have an extra man at the back. You need to work out. And we spoke about this. Work out what's going on, because whether we thought Leyton Orient were going to press, or whether they were going to sit in against us, or whether they were going to play out from the back or play direct. They've done all of that this season, so you have to get questions answered in the first part of the game. We got the answers. We didn't deal with the questions they threw at us.
Yeah, so that was Dave's thinking. So Dan, do you want to take us through the lineup, mate?
Yeah, I think the same again. Another one, I'll be surprised if anyone managed to get 11 out of 11. You had Corriadai obviously starting in goal. It was a back 4, I think, for most of the game, of Connolly as right back, Horsfall and Pye. You had Adamola as your left back, midfield pairing of Norwood and Camps. And then you had Collar, Diamond and Barry, with Wotton as your point of the Christmas tree as such. I think most of us on our little WhatsApp group thought we were going to be playing 3 at the back with Connolly, Horsfall and Pye with wing backs, but I think we definitely started with a back 4 on that. And like you say, a little bit surprised, probably, even though obviously with the Wednesday show that JK sort of thought that Connolly would be starting this Saturday. But like I say, I thought we would be going 3 at the back.
What did you think, Stu?
It was hard to tell. I mean, I when you look at it, like you say, on various socials, it looks like a 4. But when you was watching the game, I thought it was a 3 with Arabola. I can't say the lad's name.
Just call him Teo. That's the easy one.
Yeah, the Teo, yeah. And Diamond at right wing back. It just didn't work. Whatever it was, it just didn't work. It's just one of those days, I think.
Yeah, I've got to agree. I mean, I did think it was a back 4, and Connolly was supposedly playing right back, and I think we'd already said, as you say on the group, Dan, that is Connolly a right back? It doesn't look it to me. I mean, he's supposed to be someone that can play all the way across the back 4, maybe defensive midfield as well, but he definitely brought a level of uncertainty, I think, to the back line that I think you'll agree we've not seen all season.
Yeah, it's a hard one because, like I say, it just, I weren't convinced over his performance, to be honest. But like I say, there was a lot in that starting 11 that there was probably their worst game of the season so far, and probably their worst game in a county shirt in a long while, to be honest, even this calendar year. And like we said before, League Two, we can get away with 3 or 4 players having a quiet day or a bad day. League One, you get punished if too many players are just off it.
Stu, what do you think of the midfield too?
Norwood and Camps.
Yeah.
I thought Norwood was anonymous first half. But he was. You couldn't even see where he was because he just didn't seem to be anywhere near the play. And I think Camps became a bit of a fall guy for that. He was trying to make up for where Norwood wasn't. Because if you look at Camp's performance up to yesterday this season, he's been early days, but you'd say he's in the running for player of the season based on the first 5 or 6 games, which isn't enough, obviously. But for me, I said it on our group. I think we're missing a Crosby type player just to sit in there and just not do anything other than sit in front of your back 2, your back 3, whatever it is.
It's a good point. I mean, the midfield 2 for me, they didn't defend or help the defenders enough because they were still getting runners and splitting us open super easy late in Orient. And they weren't supporting the attack either. They were sort of caught in no man's land. If we just go on to the front 4, did we think that Wootton was the right man for this game? Bearing in mind when we'd had the Leyton Orient podcast guy on Wednesday, he'd said that they press super high and their defenders are dead slow and tall. Was anyone surprised? Dan, were you surprised that Wootton started that game after the form that Tanto's shown?
No, Wootton has to start. It's his shirt to lose, I think. I know Tanto's is having impacts when he comes on. And I say, what Wootton's done already this season, he deserves that start. The argument will be, when he gets to 60, 65 minutes, will he still be on the pitch? Because, like you say, we've definitely now, obviously, Mickey Mellon starting to look like he's getting closer to being sort of match fit. That, it's his shirt to lose. I just, like
Stu,
you say...
Do you think Wootton should have started?
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely, 100%. I think Charlie started him because, as he said, they press high. So if we can't play through the press, then we'll go over it. And if we've got to go over the press, Wootton's your man to go over too. But that said, he was getting assaulted by their centre half, and the referee just kept giving their centre halves everything. Every time Wootton put his hands on their centre half, he was giving him the free kick, but their centre half was pulling Wootton's shirt and had him in an headlock and all sorts.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's get into the first half then. So if we run through some stats on the first half, and I'm just going to caveat all these stats with the stats say one thing, or the overall stats do, certainly, and my eyes were telling me something else. So first half, we had 60% possession to their 40%. Their XG was 1. Ours was 0.34. We had 5 shots. They had 4. We had none on target. They had 3 and scored 2 goals. We had 173 accurate passes, which was 74%. And get this, they had 96 accurate passes in that first half. So that was 60% of all their passes were accurate. And they still managed to score 2 goals. So they're the main figures from the first half. They scored 2 goals, one on the 12th minute, one on the 17th minute. Should we just talk about whether we think Corey was or wasn't at fault? Because socials are blown up and saying that get Corey out, get Ben back in, blah, blah, blah. And I think it's a massive, massive overreaction. What do you think, Stu?
Coming out of the ground yesterday, yeah, I was the same. But having sort of, probably like the other 9,000 people, calm down a bit and watch the highlights, I would say he was at fault for I think it was the second goal where he parried it out.
Yeah.
He parried it out, and why he's not tipping it around the post, I don't know. But the first goal for me, Connolly, he's underneath the header. If you watch the video, he's underneath the header, and it's pretty shocking, really. Second goal, Corey, for me, should have tipped it round the post. But that said, the second goal, it was just a comedy of errors. Barry's first back pass wasn't great. Miscontrol, didn't get it down, didn't stop the cross. Somebody, I think it might have been Fraser, backheeled it in from the edge of the 6-yard box into the 18-yard box.
Yeah, that was Camps. Yeah.
Was that Camps, was it?
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I think Hadai's had a bit of unfair stick, because when you're a keeper, you make a mistake. 9 times out of 10, it's going to lead to a goal.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody wants that. Look at the other end of the pitch. Somebody makes a mistake. What's the worst that's going to happen? We're not going to score a goal.
Yeah.
But the striker probably won't get as much grief as the keeper got.
What did you think of the first sort of 20 minutes, Dan, of that first half?
We just sort of huffed and puffed without having a shot on target, and then we got our pants pulled down very quickly. I don't know if I just felt that we were just not combating enough. We weren't winning the second balls. And we were just, I don't know, just off it a little bit. I don't know, like I say, energy levels are not. But with teams in this division, if you give them a sniff, they're gonna take you apart. And it just shows you, like you say, that first half, 2 quick fire goals. It was a bit of a shock to the system, and I suppose as a manager, Dave wants to see what the reaction is going to be. What are they going to do? We are going to be 1-0 down. We're going to be 2-0 down. We're going to be 1-0 down and have a player sent off during the season. What is the reaction going to be? And to be honest, I think that was the most disappointing part of the first half. That there was no real reaction for me in that first half. I mean, it's. When was it? It's 36 minutes, I think, until we actually have our first sort of try on goal in that first half with Louis Barry, and it's just not good enough.
I mean, the way I saw it, the first 20 minutes, they just mega pressed us. If that's a technical term in football, I'm just making it up now. It was a mega press.
Well,
they almost had their 4 forwards were matching up with our 4 defenders.
Yeah, definitely agree.
Yeah,
That's
which
exactly what I was
closed
gonna
off
say.
any gaps for us to make any pass. We like passing it out from the back. They knew that. And then instead of using our noggins and sort of being a little bit intelligent, thinking, well, how can we beat this press? We kept on doing the same thing and running into the same problems, or we just hoofed it and then lost the ball. I think it was a bit of panic. I think the players, the in-game management from the players, I think this is what disappointed Dave a little bit as well. I mean, we got back in the second half, didn't we? We'll talk about that after, but he managed to reset us a little bit, and you could definitely tell that. But that first half, the players and the in-game management just wasn't there. And you're looking at Ollie Norwood and you're looking at Callum Camps to just calm it down a little bit and say, right, look, this is what we're going to do. Didn't happen, did it?
No, and Dave has talked about this before, and about problem solvers, about people, making decisions on the pitch and reading the game and what's happening on the pitch and making live decisions instead of always looking at the bench or looking for the answer at the bench. They have to make that decision on the pitch themselves. And like you say, you ended up with a situation, like you say, they were marking up basically our 4 defenders. So Corey was struggling with passes, and then they all went hiding. Nobody wanted to receive the ball off Corey, which then makes Corey's job a lot harder. What he's looking for is angles. If there's no angles there, then what they were doing then is closing Corey down, which then limits his ability to actually put it downfield because he's being closed down, and nobody's interested. The first goal, I think it was like 3 or 4 times he passed the ball to Ethan Pye, and he had no intention of looking up. He just passed it back to Corey, saying, "I don't want this."
Yeah.
And it's like, what else? It's just you're inviting the pressure as such. And I just thought, like you say, a lot of people make Corey a bit of a scapegoat. You put Ben in, the style of football isn't going to change. People were screaming, "Oh, lump it, stop tippy tapping around the back." That's the instruction from Dave. Putting Ben in doesn't change that. And if you watch the highlights from midweek, you will see that Ben got caught out by something that he
Yeah, a
should have
high
really
press.
been on. Yeah, so
Yeah.
having Ben in goal, you could argue about the saves or anything, but playing out from the back isn't going to change.
Stu, how do you feel that Pye and Horsfall did in those sort of first 20, 25 minutes?
I think for most of the game, it was probably their worst game in a long time, because they are two of the best centre halves in that league. One bad game doesn't make them rubbish or anything like that. They're absolutely not. But the third and fourth goal, Ethan Pye was caught out of position. Fraser Horsfall was caught out of position. But I think the question is, why? Why were they caught out of position? Why were they, for example, on the fourth goal, can't remember which, Ethan Pye makes a sliding tackle on the halfway line. Why is he having to do that? He's a centre back. He should be sat back, waiting for the ball over the top or through to chase it and mop it up.
Yeah. Well, should we go on to the second half then? So the first half finished obviously 2-0 to them. We maybe had a couple of chances right at the end, some half chances maybe to get back into it, a little bit of ooh and an ah from the crowd, but nothing really materialised. But second half, we come out, make a double substitution. So Tanto came on, didn't he? Who did he come on for? Someone remind me.
The two midfielders, Camps and Norwood.
Yeah.
Good point. And that was a shock, wasn't it, to take both midfielders off? So we ended up having one midfielder on the pitch in Lewis Bate. And yeah, we did what you would expect any team to do when they're 2-0 down at home. We came out all guns blazing. We scored a goal. Like one of three people could have scored that goal at the far post. Great work by Barry. Laid it on to Tanto, who crossed. I thought it was a cross rather than a miss-hit shot. Crossed the ball over, and Diamond was there, but Wootton was there as well. I think Barry was somewhere in the mix as well. He continued his run. So looking good. And the stats for that second half, if we just go through them, it was 66 possession to us, 34 to them. We had an XG of 1.68 to 0.57 for them. We had 13 shots in that second half. I don't know if that's some sort of record this season, but it sounds like a lot of shots to me to their 5, but only 3 on target. So, and they had 2 on target and they scored 2 flaming goals. So Tanto gets off to a really good start, and we're thinking, okay, I mean, the atmosphere in the Cheadle end was rocking at that point, and we were thinking, come on, we're going to win this 3-2. And the real gut punch came, didn't it? That sucker punch when they got their third. And it's what you were saying, Stuart. We just parted. I don't know what happened, but Horsfall got sucked across to the left. Collar didn't sense any danger from their guy. He seemed to have like 5 yards around him. He just took a few touches into the box and he just smashed it low and hard past Adai. I know it beat him near post, but what's the goalkeeper going to do there? If he covers his near post, he kicks it like across him. If he doesn't cover his near post, then so I think it was difficult for Adai. So how did you feel, Dan, at that point? Did you think that we could get back into the game at 3-1 or?
No, I mean, you say no. We've seen it before. We've seen it with Dave Challoner. He did it in the National League. We've been losing at half time 2 or 3-0, and he's managed to get a result. So I would never put it past him or the team to get a result. We've seen it, Bolton, for example. We've seen it where we think the game's dead and buried. While there's still minutes on the clock, anything is possible. But like you say, that third goal was just a mess for me. Like you say, and it was honestly, I think at times you could play the Benny Hill theme tune at the back of that goal because it was just a mess. And I think Clint Hill and Dave, as obviously defenders they were, they will rightly be critical. And like we said, we are being critical of players. And because they had a bad game doesn't mean we think they're bad players. And it wouldn't, like I said, I think Horsfall had an absolute dog of a game. and Pye and Connolly as well, and all three of them didn't set the world alight. But that would not surprise me one bit. Come next Saturday, Horsfall and Pye are both the best two players on the pitch, and Horsfall's got man of the match.
Yeah, 100% agree with that.
That just wouldn't surprise me at all. But unfortunately, they just had a bit of a stinker.
Stu, do you think that sort of making those two changes at the back, so we had Connolly and Teo, I know that they have had minutes recently, but maybe partnering them or having them as the two fullbacks, do you think that caused maybe a little bit of positional problems for both Pye and Horsfall? They didn't quite know whether to go or to not go.
Yeah, I think particularly Teo on the left, because he spent a lot of time ahead of the other defenders, however many you want to look at it. He spent a lot of time too far forward for me. All right, I think Dave set him up to get at him. The bottom of the league. They'd only won one prior coming to Edgeley yesterday. I think Dave set us up to go at him, get a couple of early goals, knock the stuffing out of them, and then just sort of pick them off. But it's totally backfired. I think, in answer to your question, Jimmy, I think Pye and Horsfall suffered from not having, a solid midfield in front of them.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Norwood and Camps, like we said, they were all over the place. And your two full-backs, wing-backs, whatever you want to call them, too far up the pitch, not in the right position. Yeah, I don't know.
But you could see that, couldn't you?
Yeah, last week when he played Torre at right back, everyone was moaning about it. But yesterday you could see why he did that.
Yeah, I think Torre would have given us a lot more stability, wouldn't he? Even if he put him on the left, I don't know. I think Teo is an absolute. He's going to be brilliant. I think he's going to. I mean, I think he's obviously come from Crystal Palace. He's got all the skills in the world. He's got pace to burn. I mean, the amount of times that I was thinking, don't let the ball bounce because you're just not going to be able to get back to it, and he just put the afterburners on and managed to get back to the ball. But he definitely made Pye think a little bit more than maybe he needed to. And once you start second guessing your positioning as a central defender, and it's not quite working out for you like you would expect it to, and you're thinking, well, he's gone forward. Do I need to come forward myself now, or shall I drop here? And this person's running past this person here. I think that really is where we struggled. Okay, so we brought Lewis Bate on for the second half. Can I say that I think he's just brilliant, and I think he should have started the game.
First name on the team sheet from now on, I think.
Yeah, he's different class. He will be a Premier League player. Without 100%. A doubt, he will be a Premier League player.
He just senses danger, and he's so busy, I think. And I think that's what we missed in the midfield. We didn't have that busyness of Lewis Bate sort of sensing danger, covering for maybe a fullback or sort of shielding in front of the central defence. I know we conceded 2 goals, but we were chasing the game at that point, weren't we? And I think, Stu, you mentioned that the 4th goal was an absolute horror with Ethan Pye sort of slide tackling on the halfway line. But that was us chasing a game 3-1 down, and you're thinking, yeah, we've got to do something to get these 2 goals back. So I think that was the reason behind that. Okay, then.
But I say that what Bate offers is goes looking for the ball. What Norwood and Camps were doing, they were hiding at times, I thought, in that first half. They weren't showing up. They weren't offering themselves to receive the ball. Bate is always, whoever's got the ball, Bate is an option for a pass. Doesn't matter where they are on the pitch, he makes himself available to receive the ball. He goes looking for the pass. If that's off the fullback, if that's off the central defenders, if that's off the wingers, he's always making himself available to receive the ball. And he's got an outlet. He's got a out ball as well. And I think that was the major difference between Norwood and Camps compared to Bate. Bate did the job of 2 players when he came on in the second half. a better job than what Norwood and Camps were doing. That's how much influential and a different change was. Bate did the job of 2 players in the first half and was better.
And as you said at the start of the pod, Dan, DC is going to learn more from a defeat, isn't he, than maybe a 1-1 draw against Mansfield. He's going to see which players can step up, which players go missing.
Yeah.
He's going to maybe be able to see whether maybe he can look internally himself and decide, did I maybe make some wrong decisions with how I set the team up? Obviously, Leyton Orient did come out and they were very, very offensive in those first 20 minutes. Will we taken by surprise by it? I think we probably were. Gosh, I'm answering my own questions like Dave does in his post-match. Yeah, I've not had media training, guys.
But like you said, with the back 4 at times, and about obviously Teo pushing on, and he's done this quite a lot, Dave, that he plays a lopsided back 4. So he'll push one of the full backs actually on into midfield, but leave the other one there. And it's not a back 3 as such, but more of, like you say, a lopsided back 4. So like you say, I like the fact that I think Teo's a better wing back attacking option than what he actually is defending. I think his biggest asset defending is actually his pace. But like you say, Ethan Pye should be, like you said, used to that formation or how that plays, because we've played it loads of times.
Yeah, we've played it with Torre, played it with Rydell in the playoff defeat season. Like you say, Dan, it's a lopsided sort of shape and it usually works, but I just could not make my mind up whether Connolly yesterday was a right-sided centre-back or a right full-back, because there just seemed to be a massive gap round about the full-back position on the right-hand side.
100%, and I think that's what Noyle knows his craft. So if you play Noyle as a right-sided centre-back, he can also slip really easily into that right-back role, whereas Connolly, you could just tell he wasn't comfortable going out to the right-back position, so he almost sort of stayed in that sort of penalty box area, sort of between the sticks, and that's how they scored their first goal, because he was caught under the ball, wasn't he, Stu, as you said in the first half?
That's right, yeah.
I just felt that Connolly doesn't have that pace or hasn't got the belief in the pace that he's got, and sort of holds himself back, and he like you say, get caught in no man's land really, of sitting too far deep or not pushing up enough, and he just got played around too many times for me, where, like you say, we know Noyle's positional play is just absolutely sensing danger, is just top notch. But like you say, it's Connolly's first start of the season. He's hardly had any game time. It's not fair to chuck him under the bus, or any of the players really under the bus, for one bad result. They will be given opportunities to redeem themselves. Will they be given an opportunity to start next Saturday? We'll wait and see.
Do you think it's good when you've got an embarrassment of riches to choose from? Because I was thinking about this, like, if you've only got a squad of, say, 14 fit players to choose from, they have got to go out and do it, haven't they? If you've then suddenly got 20 fit players to choose from, and you can't even put Powell and Bailey on the bench, as a manager, are you then more likely to start tinkering, and you then don't get any continuity in the game, thinking, oh, I'll just bring Powell in for this one, I'll bring Bailey in for that one? And then I was sort of thinking about this. It's like on Championship Manager, when you just wanted a settled side, didn't you? You didn't want to be like rotating players all the time, because it never used to work. What do you think, Stu? Sorry, Dan.
Go on, Dan.
I think we said about this the other week, Jimmy, that it'd be interesting when Dave gets in a position where he can play the same starting 11 for 4 or 5 games on the trot. And we talked about it, I think, off-season. Did Dave Challoner actually ever play his best 11 last season? But it just, like you say, it just seems that we just need to find that settled 11. We need to work the partnerships out, formations where people are running, who's covering defensively, who makes the diagonal passes. That all comes with playing together, and we're still finding our feet. we're 6 games into a 46-game season, and we don't need to lose our mind about it. We can see the potential, even with Farini coming on, the little glimpses there. We can see there's something with him as well, and it's not going to happen overnight. It will take time, but it will come together.
I think we also need to. Sorry, go on, Stu.
Sorry, Jimmy. I agree 100% with Dan there. It's going to take time, and and in the off-season podcast, we said that we hate the word consolidation, and it isn't a season of consolidation because we are too good for that. Our squad and our manager and coaching team are too good for that. Season of transition, perhaps, but not consolidation. And I think days like yesterday, there's going to be more of them. But it's just part of the learning curve. And if we know one thing about our coaching staff is that they can coach players to become better players and deal with the whatever's thrown at them, such as yesterday.
It's a really good point about the transition. I mean, we signed 14 new players, and it's probably a miracle that we managed to win the first 3 games when you consider the number of players that we have signed. And you've also got to remember that Dave is still learning himself. It's his first season managing in League One, isn't it? So he's going to be learning constantly as well. I mean, Wellens got it. I mean, the Leyton Orient manager got it spot on, didn't he? He absolutely did a number on us. And there will be teams that we play this season that are going to do that to us, but hopefully we will do enough to. I mean, I think our budget is top, is it 10, 11 or something? You're sort of guessing around that mark. So that's really our yardstick for finishing.
But even with them 14 players that we signed, even if you think of Stretton and Rydell, how many of these players has actually the county squad has Ryan Rydell actually played with? Because he's been out for so long, and if people think he's going to come back and set the world alight this season, Rydell's basically a new signing. Like you say, he's a transitional player. I think he's probably played with obviously Ben, Horsfall, and Will Collar. Realistically, because all the fresh new players that have come in, and Stretton as well. So it's not. It is like you say, a transition. We know Dave goes out to win every game, and that will be the difference. And his stats still prove. Like I say, when you look at his stats over his career at County, and like I say, I like to look at the points per game. So points per game, that was Dave's 160th game in charge of County on Saturday against Leyton Orient in all competitions. He's won 90 games, so he's got a win percentage of 56.25. He's drawn 35 games and lost 35. So points per game is on 1.91.
That's excellent, isn't it?
Yeah. And like we say, we all say 2 points per game will get you promotion out of any division. And that's include 160 games. If you're just looking at his EFL games, not including the playoffs, that was his 98th game as an EFL manager for County. 52 he's won out of the 98, which is still a win percentage of over 50% of 53.06. He's drawn 26 of them 98, and he's only lost 20 games. So he's lost just over 20% of his games. And that's a win points per game of 1.86. It's the same again. For a manager that is still learning his craft, that is very ambitious, that still wants to go out and win every game, not managed at this level before, and like I say, and you get balmy comments of some fans going on that he needs to be sacked on Saturday. It's just,
Should we just
one loss, and like I say, I'm looking for the response. I'm looking for the players now to which ones are actually going to go, yeah, that's my bad game of the season out the way. And like I say, I think the players are probably the harshest critics themselves. We know they'd spend a lot of time reviewing things, sitting down as a team and individuals, going over match footage, what they could have done better. And they will the biggest critics for them will be themselves. And like I said, would not put past me if someone like Norwood or Horsfall, the players that we're saying weren't good enough on Saturday, end up being man of the match contenders against Barnsley.
Which is going to be a tough game as well. So should we look at the FOTMob ratings? So man of the match, according to FOTMob, was Jack Diamond with a 7.6. He was the only player to get a value, a match rating in the 7s. Corey Adai, I've never seen a score this low, 4.6 for him, which we've talked about.
Really harsh.
I think it's really harsh as well. And then everybody else was sort of 5.5, 6s and things. So that was FOTMob. Do we agree? Jack Diamond, man of the match, very quickly.
I think it was his best game in a county shirt. I think he was lively. He obviously switched him over a few times with Barry left and right hand side. Yeah, encouraging from him. I don't think we've seen the best of him by any margin. I think he gets better with every game. I think by the end of the season, he's going to be a fan's favourite.
Stu, man of the match for you?
I'd probably go with Tanto. I know he only played half a game, but when he came on, it gave them their back 4, back 3, back 4, whatever it was. Gave them something to think about, and they struggled to cope with him. They struggled to cope with his strength, his pace, and he's off the ball running.
That's a great shout. And yeah,
well, I think he got 7.2, didn't he? I think off FOTMob from coming off the bench. Same again, the way that Bate controlled the game. I think when he came on, you'd be hard not to argue that Bate at 90 minutes, he was the best player on the park.
You've got to remember as well that when we were playing really well before the Louis Barry injury last season, it was a front two of Barry and Tanto. They really complemented each other well, and they caused lots and lots and lots of problems. So as much as Wotton's done well, he scored his 3 goals so far this season. I still think our best team has got Tanto and Barry in it. And Wotton,
a lot of people say, don't they, League One is about pace. You need that pace in League One all over the pitch. And in all fairness, that's what, like you say, Barry and Tanto do. They push that front line forward. They push the defenders back, and then that gives the license then for people like Bate and Collar to absolutely diamond to really, really damage teams. Because, like I say, that defensive line is being pushed back because of the pace of Tanto.
Yeah. Ref, I didn't think he did that well, to be fair. I don't think he protected Wotton enough. I think he missed a possible opportunity for giving us at least 1 penalty, maybe even 2. So, yeah, thumbs down from me. What about you, Stu?
Same again. Absolutely dreadful. And the linesman on the Danny Bagara stand side, dreadful.
Yeah. Okay, so should we just move on to the league table very, very quickly? So we are 6 games into the season. We're now 7th in the table. I know that the John Kieran interview on Wednesday, he said, okay, we've had 3 wins, 2 draws. The game against Leyton Orient will be really interesting. If we can get a win against that one, we're back up again, aren't we? But if we lose it, we're then starting this sort of momentum is very much against us. Barnsley's going to be a hard game, we think. So you're then looking at when your next 3 points are coming from. So, 11 points, sitting 7th. We'd have taken it, wouldn't we, at the start of the season, to be fair?
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. All day long.
Cool. Okay, so we're on nearly 40 minutes. So we've just got one little thing to announce to our fans. We've got we've set up a Betty Bet account for the Scarf Bagara War, and we're currently running a King of the Hill game. Dan, can you explain what that is for me?
It's basically last man standing. So it's done on the weekly fixtures. Basically, it's £5 to enter. The winnings is split between obviously the winner and Mentel, whatever's in the pot, and it's last man standing. So basically, each week the game might last 2 weeks, it might last 6 weeks until there is actually just one winner, and you basically have to pick the results from the weekend's fixtures that are given out. It's all done through an app, so it's nice and easy. But if you look on the Scarf Bagara War socials, you'll also notice that there's a code as well once you've installed the app to get onto our weekly the game. Obviously, once the game's finished and the winner's announced, then we start another one up. So, like you say, if everyone gets the fixtures wrong, the scores wrong after week one, basically, we go back to the beginning, and obviously, it's all there basically on the socials, how to do it, how to sort of raise money, and like you say, we're not half them. Whatever's in the pot, half of it goes to the winner, half of it goes to Mentel. So there's no profiteering or anything like that out of it. So it's well worth a look. And also the other thing to announce that obviously next Saturday we play Barnsley. And what we're looking at doing is doing a live Courtyard Club call after the game on Wednesday, next Saturday. So once if you're watching the game on the TV or you're going to Barnsley, me and Jimmy will be live to talk through the game, and we'll give out a code on the socials before we go live. So if there's any fans that want to join in and have a quick word or let us know what they thought of the game, then look out for that link.
Amazing. Thanks, Dan. Thank you to Dan. Thank you for Stu. And I think that's about a wrap. Cheers, guys.
Cheers,
And
guys.
that's a wrap for this episode of the Scarf Bagara War. We hope you enjoyed the podcast. Remember, you can catch us every week on your favourite podcast platform, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Google Podcasts. And a huge thank you to all of our Patreon members. Your contributions help keep the show running to bring the content you love. If you'd like to support the podcast and get access to exclusive special guest episodes, ad-free podcasts, and a monthly giveaway, head over to patreon.com/the Scarf Bagara War. And don't forget to follow us on social media for updates, behind the scenes content, and more. You can find us on X, Facebook, and Instagram, all at County Podcast. Lastly, if you enjoyed the show, please leave us a review and share it with your fellow County fans. Your feedback helps us improve and reach more listeners. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on the Scarf Bagara War. Come on, County!